Welcome everyone. I'm Bridget Cook-Burch with Inspired Legacy Publishing, and I could not be more thrilled than to bring you Jason Palmer from Palmer Performance Horses, but also with an extraordinary book. Jason, would you tell everyone what your book is about? Tell us the name and what your book is about.
I will. My book is called The Finish Line, and I took my most exciting adrenaline-charged horse experiences and I tied them to a life code and principle to help anybody that's stuck in life with life's pull and give them the strength or different perspective to take and create their own magical life.
You've lived an entire life of adrenaline. That has been your modicum and part of why you got into horses in the first place. Would you share with the readers one of your favorite stories?
I will. I think one of my favorite stories out of the book is I had one of my race owners call me up early on in this horse's career and say that I think we got a problem with her. I don't think she's gonna make it. And I'm like, well, how do you have a problem with her? She hasn't even started. He says, I can't catch her. I says, okay. So I says, just leave that alone. I'll come out and help you in a couple days. And he locked her in a 20 by 10 pin, and there's a 2 foot by 1 foot opening that is used for sliding feed through. And he said he put her in there to try to catch her, and while he was trying to catch her, she jumped through that space and didn't touch a hair on her body. And I says, that right there is the horse that's gonna get us a championship, because she's obviously athletic.
There you go.
So that horse literally put me in the hospital 5 times in my training career with her, but we hold 2 track records with her at the end of her career, and picked up 118 speed index, which is the speed she covers the track. So I think that's a pretty exciting story.
I think that's pretty exciting that she would shoot through, not even touching a hair.
Yeah, she's our one, for sure.
Tell me, what got you into it in the first place? Why would you choose to live this particular life?
What really drew me to the horse industry to begin with is I got into a tragic chainsaw accident when I was 10. Okay, and I became pretty reclusive with that accident, and my parents recognized my struggle and they introduced me to horses. And what I understood with horses, what I became to learn is they never judged me like humans did. And so when I got on back of those horses, we just had a connection. And the connection we created was they didn't judge me like people did. So I completely fell in love with who they were as how they treated me. And so I just completely lost my life in that, because I loved how they treated me versus how humans did.
When did working with horses start to translate into working with people?
So that's an interesting question, because I used horses as my medium to, as a hideout kind of. It was my space that was sacred for me. And when I got on the racetrack, I knew for a fact that nobody was judging me because they couldn't even see the disfigurement. And they didn't really care. When I realized that whatever success I could create was just about me and that connection with that horse, I had nothing to do with anybody else or even the opportunity. It was just about me and that horse connecting. That's when people started to turn around and treat me with a little respect, because now they didn't care what I looked like. They just care if I got the win or not. Nobody cared. So that's when the connections started to switch around, and I started finding value in human beings again.
A couple of different iterations of your life that you've had is moving from sport to sport, and then also came a time in your life when personal development became really important for you. Can you share some of that with us?
I will. So I started showing horses as a youth because my parents got me involved in that. At age 14, I got involved in the racehorse industry, and I enjoyed a 10-year career as a jockey. I grew out of my profession because I got too tall and too fat. The scale really doesn't care how tall you are, they just care how much you weigh. And so I literally had to leave my profession because I just got too heavy. So when I left my profession, I left the sport for a long time, the equine sport, for a long time, like maybe 5-10 years. And it just left me empty. So I started studying the reining show horses and realized I could find that same adrenaline charge in that industry, and I didn't have to step on a scale. And then I married a gal that is into the barrel horses, so I help her with her barrel horses too. So there's 3 different disciplines, and I went from one to the other just because of I was forced to. And then the other one with the barrel horses, I wanted to because my wife was involved with it, and we just have a blast with it.
Oh, that's beautiful. The invitation of the horse was still there even after leaving, like you felt it compelling you to come back.
You bet.
Yeah, never left your blood.
No, I mean, the connection with horses is it will never leave me because of how they've always treated me. And between horse and we can create some pretty magical things together.
Even when people don't believe in you, or they don't believe that you're doing the right sport, or that you should be working with a particular horse. You've had a few of those experiences where you freaked your parents out when you went into racing.
Right.
And then sometimes working with some of these more difficult horses. Yeah. Will you tell us about Bloodbath?
Bloodbath he is a 2-year-old I had in training that I got from my race client that I prepared for the Triple Crown. And as a 2-year-old, he trained absolutely unbelievably cool. Like, he was tall, he was strong, he was stout, and he had a hunger to run. When I sent him down to our trainer in Ruidoso for the Triple Crown, I gave him a special set of instructions. I said, you have to treat him like an individual. And if you don't, he will become a terrorist. And he will either kill himself or you, or both of you. And that's exactly what happened. He ran in the Triple Crown, and he was dead last every single trip. All 3 trips, he was dead last. So I went and picked him up. In December, I got him back, and I was gonna put him back in training for his 3-year-old race career. The first time I rode him out in the hills, Bridget, he literally tried to kill me. I actually didn't think I was gonna come back alive. And I submitted if I actually make it back off of this ride, he and I are gonna go do some changes, because in the arena, in a more confined area, so I have a little more control over the deal. And I spent 3 months on him, getting his mind back right and reconnecting with him. The trainer down there said he wouldn't refuse to sit in the gates. I took him to the gates every day. We camped out in there. I even fed him in there a couple times. Get him nice and comfortable in there. And I finally got him to a spot to where we were in good shape. I sent him down to Los Alamitos in Los Angeles, and he ran 4th his first out. He ran 3rd his second out by about 1/4 of an inch, and then he wins his 3rd out. So, kind of a cool horse.
And you've had many, many of these type of stories about humanity and horses, which I love. And so would you tell the readers about that? The importance of many great lessons that you've learned?
Yeah. So my experience with connecting with the heart of the horse, it parallels with so many things in life. You take a 1,200-pound animal over here that trusts that you're gonna come and feed him and water him and take care of him. And that's an interesting concept, right? Because in life, as we grow up, our parents take care of us and do all the things until we learn how to do it ourselves. And then all of a sudden we're on our own. So did our parents teach us well? Did they give us a good foundation? Did they teach us mindset? Did they teach us discipline? Did they teach us all the right principles in order for us to be productive members of society as adults? Did they do all that? And so when I teach these babies, I want to make sure that it is a long-term, lifetime deal for them, foundation that's set up, because it takes them forever. It goes with them forever. And Bloodbath proved it. So many others have proved it to me that if you just treat them with kindness and respect, they will give you everything they got.
Bloodbath, baby, lots of the horses.
It's amazing.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite principles that you're teaching to the reader?
One of my favorite principles would just, I think, have to be mindset. Mindset's always been my favorite principle, because how life has dished itself out to me, I've had to create a different little mindset that has allowed me to create success outside of that. And it hasn't been by accident. Like I literally had to take a whole different view of how I was even raised to create that mindset to pull out of those dark spots.
Because you were raised very hardworking, loyal, roots of the earth kind of family.
Yeah.
And you found, as you were growing and reading and doing self-development, that there were some things that could be beyond what you'd been taught. And so how did you implement that into your own life?
When I started into personal development, which was in my early 30s, I had already retired as a jockey, so then I owned a landscape company. And I'm telling you, Bridget, I hated my life. I hated people, I hated everybody around me, because I had to quit the very thing I loved to do. And then I had to go to work and shovel. That wasn't very fun. And so when I started the personal development, I realized that why people didn't like me that well. I'm like, holy smokes, looking in the mirror, I didn't even like myself. And it's because my parents or society, growing up using my parents, they didn't give me that skill set. They didn't give me those tools or that information. They just tried to make me figure it out by myself. I don't think we have to do that anymore. I don't think we have to experience life the way we were taught how to experience it.
So you can move beyond the things you've been taught into something greater.
I mean, what I've learned is like the gap between where you are and self-mastery is really how you can handle life. And until you get closer to self-mastery, it's just gonna beat you up.
And you got beat up enough.
I got beat up a few times, just a few times.
Tell us about what you know about mindset.
When you decide what you want to get out of life, the mindset has to be that nothing gets to change that. Like the activities along the way may change, but that end goal never gets to change. It gets to be in concrete. And then you work backwards from that goal and make it all happen and plug it in. And that mindset has to either keep you in the game or it's going to take you out of the game, because there's a new devil on every level. And I'm telling you, that devil's coming to haunt that mindset you have. And if you don't make your mind up now what that gets to look like, he's going to take you out of the box and mess your mindset up. But if you make that decision that goal is going to be accomplished regardless, it's gonna pack you through anything you need.
Okay, now I'm gonna have you like speak directly to your reader too. What do you want them to know from you and from your book? What do you want them, when they're touched, when they feel you, what do you want them to really know about their own lives?
What I hope that you as a reader can learn about your own life is that nothing can hold you back. Like, you're your own limitation. And we're all victims of this. Like, driving up here today, I was my own limitation on some other things going on in my world, but self-talk and your belief in yourself and your truth about yourself and your fearless ability to stand in that identity of you is what I want every single reader to take out of that book.
I think a lot of people go through life and they don't know who they are and they don't know what to stand for. And so that's a beautiful premise that they can get from your book in their own lives.
Yeah, most people are walking around like zombies. They're half dead, you know?
A lot of these lessons that you've been learning, you're sharing on stages, as you mentioned. You also train other people to find the heart of the horse and to be able to shift their own lives and mindset to be able to match what that horse can give them. Can you share some of that with us?
I can. I train a lot of youth riders, a lot of non-pro riders, and I teach them how to connect with that horse's heart. What that connection does is allow the best of the ability inside that horse synergistically working together with that rider to bring out the best presentation possible. And it's really brilliant to watch these young kids grab onto that and see how excited they can be about their performance and what they get to do on the big stages. It was really fun.
And you've had a lot of parents who have mentioned the transformation that has taken place inside of their child and brought out into the world. What do you think it is, this special magic that you have?
Me teaching the connection of the heart with horse, coupled with my experiences through life of all my adversities and whatnot and all the dark holes I've had to crawl out of, I would really love to have those kids not experience that same thing. And so I see kids struggling, and I see kids worrying about what people think about them. I see kids not self-confident in what they're doing. I see kids struggling with their peers and their own self-confidence. And man, today I love teaching kids the foundation and principle of what it's gonna take to stand alone and do that by yourself, because nobody's coming to save you, right? Nobody's doing that. You gotta stand up and do your own deal.
What would you want your readers to know about you that you haven't expressed yet?
I would really like you, the reader, to know that you're not alone. You really aren't. You just gotta find the right tribe of people and the right information. And when people think they're alone, they are alone in the world, but they're not alone in their world. That their world is really just comprised of a small group of people. And those small group of people can literally change your life. As you, the reader, I want you to know that if you've assembled that small tribe, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
Beautiful. And what would be your greatest hope for this book, for this message to get out into the world?
My greatest hope would be that people don't get to suffer like I have, to try to figure it out. I feel there's so much information out there right now that you don't have to struggle the way I did. So my hope with my book is that you get to just accelerate on your potential rather than suffer to get to that potential. You're gonna suffer no matter what, but at least you can get there a little quicker.
And tell us about joy on the journey, because that's been important for you to figure out, especially in these last years.
I think people got to quit settling. I think people literally got to quit playing small, because God created us for a greater purpose. And if you're not chasing your purpose, you are playing small. And I think if you're not chasing your purpose, you're walking around half asleep. And whether it's in your relationship with your spouse or your kids or your profession, I think if you are not being agitated by something great every day, that you are leaving something out. We can create whatever tribe we want around us, and we don't have to settle for anything else. We don't have to submit to that scarcity mentality. We don't have to believe, we don't have to take into our belief system that that's how it has to be, because it is not. It is not how it ever has to be.
And so this new ability to feel, are you also seeing that shift your relationship with the horses and also with the people that you train and coach?
The communication that I have with the horses today is, I want to say, 1,000 times more superior than it ever has been. My relationships with human beings today is the most important thing I chase. That's the most important thing I chase. Long-term relationships are the most valuable thing in this whole entire world. And it doesn't have to just be family. It can be your new family. I'm excited about what's coming, because it's just opened up so many more doors for me. What I want you, the reader, to know is that you have to lean into those times where it's super awkward, uncomfortable as you're chasing whatever you're going after, and start to trust people a little bit. I think they have to recognize opportunity instead of just having it zip past you like it didn't happen.